What's up, Ranger fans? It's Monday. Morphinominal Monday. Are we still calling it that? I don't remember. I think so. Yeah, that's what Twitch says. All right, it's Morphinominal Monday. I am your host, your painting friend, Daddy Louie. If you are unfamiliar with me, I am a member of the Circle of Nerds. You can find all of my content over on youtube.com/Circle of Nerds. We are following up with our third painting stream of the year, showing off new models for upcoming expansions. I have two more after today's lined up, so it's 2 more months of new models. I can't tell you what they are. I'm very, very sorry. But what I can tell you, actually, I don't know if I can. I'm going to tell you. They're not Dino Thunder models. So this is the last Dino Thunder model that I have, what we're painting today. So the other 2 models that I have up on deck are from other things. And that's all I will say. But enough about me. How are you? Say hi in the chat. Start having your wonderful conversation that I know you guys always have. Thank you, as always, to Renegade for having me on stream. Nowhere else I'd rather be on this Monday. We're painting a terrible, terrible color today. We are painting yellow. It is arguably one of the worst. Oh, and I have my brand new, whatchamacallit here. My brand new wet palette. And what are we painting? We are painting... No, not that guy. That's who we painted last week. Or last month, I should say. If you guys don't remember or weren't here for that or haven't seen it, there is the Dino Thunder Blue model. And if you missed the stream a couple weeks before that, there is the Silver Space Ranger. Today, we are painting the yellow Dino Thunder model. Let me get this on a black background here so you can see what we got going on. Sorry, taking you guys for a little ride there. So, disclaimer, as you guys roll in and join, this is a resin model. This is not the plastic model that you will get when you do eventually get your version of the model. There are imperfections on the model. I've done the best that I could to clean those up, but you'll see, like, actually you can't see because my camera's all blurry. You can see there is some imperfections there. I tried filing those down the best I could, but I did not want to ruin the model, because if something breaks while I'm cleaning the model or getting it ready to paint, I don't have more. It's just literally this one model, and I don't have other copies of it. So you'll see some imperfections, and I apologize about those. I'll do the best that I can to cover them up while we're painting, but just keep that in mind. There's some really nice folds in the back skirt here. I don't know if those are intentional or not, but they look really great on the model. So I assume once we get painting, those will fill in really nicely. I have a picture up. Hopefully this time I don't have so many questions. I remember last time I had a lot of questions. She's pretty yellow and gold, and a little bit of white, but there's a lot of yellow. So that's what we're going to be doing there, painting yellow. So if you are not familiar with painting or you're new, like I said just a second ago, painting yellow is atrocious. It's really, really difficult to do. There are 2 easier ways to paint yellow, especially for novices. And neither one of them involve taking yellow straight from the pot and putting them on your model. The first way of doing it is to prime your model or base coat your model in a brown color. Don't use yellow as your commission. Don't use yellow as your base color. Use a brown as your base color. I have washed and then primed this miniature in Wraithbone from GW. You can use anything else. And as Tom just pointed out for me, yes, contrast for the win. That is the second way, and that is the way that we will be using today. So I have Citadel's color contrast, Yandon Yellow. I don't know if that's how, Yandon Yellow, that's what we're going to call it. And this is, in my opinion, the best yellow that contrast that GW makes. It's pretty universal. It's going to create a very nice, hopefully, a very nice undercoat for us. And then we're going to do some heavy dry brushing. The hardest part about this model is going to be based on what I'm seeing from the reference pictures. Unlike the Blue Ranger, the Blue Dino Thunder Ranger, he does not have really any solid outlines around his diamonds, right? So the diamonds on his legs and the diamonds on his arms, he doesn't have outlines. She does. So, and from what I can tell, they're kind of a goldish color. That's going to be a nightmare to do, and we may not have time to get there because we're going to save that step for last. But I need to start sooner rather than later and stop yapping because contrast takes forever to dry. So this is the contrast that we're using. Make sure that you shake the crap out of your contrast paints because you need to make sure that you get all that good stuff mixed up. So I'm going to use my paint mixer and give it another good shake. Yeah, so we're not going to be using my new wet palette very much, but we'll see. I'm going to use a big brush for this. I'm going to go with a 3, I think. Yeah, we'll go with a 3. And it's pretty much yellow all over. So this is straight from the pot. I'm not going to be watering it down with any contrast medium or anything like that. I could do a hair dryer. I don't actually have one down here. I guess I could yell up to my wife to go bring me a hair dryer, but we're just going to go this route. I'm starting at the helmet. Normally I would start at the feet, but I'm starting at the helmet. That way that dries first, and I can get working on some of the other areas. So which contrast paint you use will depend, which color you use will depend on what your overall goal is at the end of the video. Let me focus that. So whatever your end goal is, that's the type that you want. If you want a bright yellow, if you want a warm yellow, because I'm not going to be doing anything too crazy or too time consuming here, I want this warm yellow to create a nice, some nice recessed colors, and then I will do some brightening with probably Uriel yellow or Flash Gets yellow from Games Workshop. We'll see. We'll see when we get there. Contrast does not contrast paint does not dry as quickly as shade does. Not that shade dries really quickly. But you have time to move the shade around, which you'll see me doing. So that way you don't create pools in places that you don't want. And I thought about doing this earlier, like when I got home from work. I was going to contrast the whole thing, and then that way when we started, we would be already done. But I think it's an important process to watch, especially if you are brand new to contrast paints, because they do work very differently from other painting. You can just slop it on. You can see I'm not just like slopping it. I'm being pretty liberal, but I'm not. I'm also trying to control. I'm not trying to get a lot on the diamonds because I'm going to have to repaint those. Same thing with the belt. I'm going to have to paint over that. So I'm just taking my time. That's all I'm doing here. The blaster, I need to look and see if the On the blue Dino Thunder Ranger, the holster is, let's see, is her skirt have diamonds? Yes, it does. On the Dino Thunder Blue Ranger, the holster is gold. I need to just verify if her holster is gold as well. I'm assuming it is. I'm assuming the only color change is the blue to yellow, but so if you're familiar with the Dino Thunder lore, I can start. I have questions, and you guys always have the best answers, so I'm going to be asking some questions throughout the stream for you guys to answer. My first question is, what in the heck are these weapons? Are they guns? Are they daggers? It's very... Having never seen the Dino Thunder show, I can tell you that I have no idea what they are. They look like guns, but then again, she has a blaster on her hip. That's like the standard blaster that all of them have. So I can't tell what it is. But I know you guys will have the answer. Kind of like daggers. Sword guns. Yeah, sword guns. That's what they look like. They look like they could be both. But again, she's got a gun on her hip, so... Even her gloves are yellow. She's just yellow all over. And I'm just going to go ahead and paint the blaster thingies yellow too, although they do have some other colors on them. And one thing to note, in case you guys paid attention to my last stream, the Blue Ranger, and maybe this is just this model. Again, these are prototypes, guys, so there's a good chance... I shouldn't say there's a good chance, but there's always a chance that the model itself could change. But on the Blue Ranger, the Blue Ranger model has the morpher on the wrist. The Yellow Ranger does not. So this model does not have a morpher on her wrist the way the Blue Ranger does. Again, I don't know if that's intentional, if that was just left off by mistake. Not sure. And I noticed some people on the Facebook group didn't like the pose when they revealed the model last week, I think it was, or over the weekend. I can tell you with 100% confidence, holding the model in my hand, the pose is pretty great. It's very dynamic. You can definitely tell that she is in action, whether she just landed like a heroic landing, or if she's about to jump, dodge out of the way of something. Right now I'm just trying to scoop up some of the extra paint that's pooling in certain areas. The helmet is almost dry, but there is a couple spots I need to add a little more. Looks pretty good. Just making sure I didn't miss any spots. I am by no means a pro painter, and this is one of the only times that I have ever painted a model using yellow contrast paint. I've painted pieces of models using contrast paint. I've never used contrast paint yellow contrast paint, that is, for an entire model. So there is a chance that I could fail here. I added way too much right there, so I'm going to have to lighten that up when that dries. You can see one side of the face is light, the other side of the face is dark. But that's basically what we're trying to go for there, getting all the contrast paint in all of the yellow spots. You can see I intentionally skipped spaces that I knew were going to be white. Obviously, I did get it on some spots, but not in all the spots. And I skipped over things like the blaster on the hip, the holster, and the belt, because I know that those are going to be a different color as well. And we're just going to let that dry for a minute. Let's go over and check the chat. Maybe the daggers. I missed what paint you're using. I am using contrast paint. It is Yandan Yellow. That's what we're calling it. It might not even be what I said earlier. Let's see. Let's go back up. Do you send the finished models back to Renegade for convention displays? Yeah, so all of the models that I've painted so far this year, the blue Dino Thunder Ranger and the Silver Space Ranger, as well as this and the other two that I have, those will be sent back to Renegade. Once they're all 5 of them are done, I'll package them back up, and Renegade will get them for conventions to have as their master copies. These are their master copies of the models. So anything that I painted prior to that was all things that were already released. Those are mine to keep and display here at the house, which is what I've been doing. So my copies, the ones that I order, because I pay in order just like you guys do, I'm going to be giving those away. So I'm going to be having a giveaway. I have a copy of Rise of... What do I have copies of right now? I know I have at least 3 boxes unopened of stuff that I've ordered. So it's going to be Rise of the Psycho Rangers. It's the Tommy Oliver Legendary Ranger Pack. And what else do I got? Sorry, I'm looking off to the side. The Machine Empire. So I'm going to be giving those away. I haven't figured out how to do that yet. I want to do something involving a charity, so I don't know. I haven't figured that out yet. But yeah, so I hope that answers your question. I would love to keep these for my own personal collection, but like I said, these are the master copies of for Renegade, so... Just giving it a couple more minutes here, going through and scooping up some of that extra paint that's in places behind the knees here is pooling pretty bad. But remember earlier I was talking about those folds in the back of the skirt? They look really, really nice now that they're starting to fill up with paint. Yeah, I noticed that the Dino Thunder, while I was doing my research for painting and looking up photos and stuff like reference pictures, I did notice that Dino Thunder, the outfits are really, really bright. So once you'll notice this is a little bit more of a warm yellow, almost orangey in some spots, especially where it's pooling. I hope to fix that with some dry brushing and some over brushing as well. So looking at reference pictures, a few more colors that we're going to be needing. We're definitely going to be using Flash Gets Yellow. That's going to be the brightness of that yellow that we're wanting. And that's going to be an overbrush over top of the model. We've also got some Screaming Skull I don't. Maybe I'll switch that out. I also have Tyrant Skull. Yeah, I'll probably use Screaming Skull. So yeah, so these two combined are going to help us get the color yellow that we want. The Screaming Skull in the flash kits. Our gold pieces will be Retributor armor. Anything that you see on the model that's black, so behind the chest plate, the visor, some of the blaster, we will be using the best colored black in all of gaming, and that's not black at all, it's German gray. And of course, anything that's white will be all Thuin gray, because that's just what we do here on the channel. So I don't think we'll need that anymore. And I think that's all the colors we need. It's actually pretty. It's pretty, just like the blue. Yeah, that looks really cool. It's gonna look great. Let's look at the blaster. I can start working on that. So we need some silver. There's actually not a lot of silver on the model, so let's get some. What should we use? We'll use some lead belcher. My sticker fell off. German gray is my favorite shade of black, that's right. Some blue for the blaster. The way that it's sitting in her belt, the blue bits, you can't really see. Unless you want to be like super duper like detailed, which of course, you know, I'll be as detailed as I can. So we may go back and do the blue a little bit later. As a matter of fact, let's pull up. In case you guys are not aware, the best source that I have found for finding reference pictures for painting Rangers are the toys. So if you go on Google and type in, like, you know, the name of the Ranger that you're wanting to paint and type in action figure or toy, you can get some really high-res pictures. Because from the show, a lot of times they're blurry. The resolution of the photos is not good. They're hard to see. And some of the Rangers have a lot of detail. So it's really difficult to determine what it is that you're trying to paint. Well, doing what I just said, looking for the toys, that helps fix that problem. I'm excited to use my new... So I've not painted anything since our last stream together. I've been really behind on painting. I was... I'm trying to remember when the last time I streamed, if like I had already had my surgery and stuff. I don't think I had. So I was in the hospital Super Bowl weekend, and then after Super Bowl weekend they determined that I needed to have my gallbladder removed, and then I had surgery, and I guess that all happened afterwards. Yeah, the paint tops are crazy. With your giveaway, are you giving them unpainted or painted? They will probably be unpainted for my giveaway. I do have some models for Renegade because they're doing a painted giveaway. Or they will be eventually. But mine will likely be unpainted just because... maybe I'll paint one. Maybe whoever wins, I'll let them determine if they want something painted. And maybe I'll open the box before I send it and paint one model from it. And then send it on. Let's see. I want these to look similar, so I'm looking to see how I painted. That's a good idea. Painting one model. So, like, let's say you won the legendary Tommy pack. I would say, okay, from that, which ranger do you want? I'm trying to remember. Had I had my surgery? I don't feel like I've been recovered for a month, but maybe I have been. Just painting the whole thing silver for now. And then I'll come back with some details in a minute. I don't even remember what day my surgery was. I don't think I had my surgery yet. But I could be wrong. Winner, Tommy. Yeah, I didn't think I had my surgery yet. It must have been. I must have had my surgery like that same week that I did paint. Because my surgery was on a Wednesday and I paint on Monday. It must have been that Wednesday. There's some red for the eyes on the grips. And the top of the grips are silver. Yes. I see the silver on the top of the grips. The eyes, let's see, where are those? Is it underneath these yellow things? Let me look at my reference pictures here. I'll do that after I'm done with the yellow, only because if I do it now, I'm going to get yellow all over whatever I do. None of these pictures have her guns or her dagger things. Or if they do, they're like really tiny. What are they called? Let me just Google it. Patera. Oh, Terra. Oh, look at... I was like, Patera. Listen to me. I'm so... Terra. Duh. Terra grips. Silly. Silly Louie. Tricks are for kids. Okay, I see. Yeah, and there's some white on the back of the grips, too. Man, these things are hecka detailed. Huh. Those are cool. Those are cool. All right. The yellow is just about dry, except in the places I need it to be dry. I really don't want to get started on the gold. All right, let's start the process of this. That's dry. It's really just around the neck and the back of the legs. So I can start there. All right. We need to get some. Get out our handy dandy paper towel here. So if you've never dry brushed before, this will be an okay tutorial for you. I'm not a master dry brusher, but it's not overly complicated either. We're going to use Flash Gets Yellow as our first color, and then maybe we'll mix in a little bit of Screaming Skull to whiten it out a little bit. We'll see how it looks with just one coat of this. Dry brushes, you can use different things. I have some dry brushes from Games Workshop. They're okay. They're not wonderful. I bought these from Army Painter. These are kind of like makeup brushes. I've only tried the smallest one, and it's horrible. Like, look at what happened. Using it one time, and then I cleaned it, and now it's like all, I don't know, weird. So we're gonna try it again, but we're going to use this one, the moderate dry brush. This is a miniature dry brush, a moderate dry brush, and then there's this big guy here, which is the mighty dry brush. The mighty dry brush. These were not cheap. I bought them because, I stream painting, and I was like, I saw them at one of my local game stores, and I was like, I'll try it. It's expensive, and I didn't really like the first one, but we'll see how using this one works out for us. But with that said, you can use any old brush. Just don't use a good brush because it'll ruin it. And if you have a significant other, or you don't mind going into the makeup section at your local store, makeup brushes are good for dry brushing as well. So my wife usually gives me her old ones when she buys new ones, and I just use those. But we'll give this one a try. So the point here is to get the most of the paint off, and kind of work the paint into the bristles. So that's where we started there, and you can see that's kind of where we ended up. And then we just go to town and see how it works. And if we don't like the way it looks, we can change it. If it's not doing anything productive, we can change what we're doing. But really, this isn't doing much. And I don't know if it's because of the color, or it's not the color. I'm getting paint everywhere. I might need more paint on my brush than that. Yeah. A little specks everywhere. I'll show you what I'm doing. So, I'm curious, since we have quite a few people in the chat right now. Does anybody want to take... I won't confirm, so don't bother trying to confirm with me. But just for fun, does anybody want to throw out any thoughts about what the other two models are that I have here in the house ready to go for upcoming streams in the future? Curious to know what you guys think. There we go. Color's really coming out now. I guess I had to be a little rougher with it. Nope. Dino Thunder Red and White are not in the house. I did mention that at the beginning of the stream, that the next two models that I paint will not be Dino Thunder models. That's a good guess, though. Oh, I just said I wouldn't confirm or deny, and listen to me. I just denied it. You got me. You got me. That's the only confirmation that I'll give. Hyperforce Green and Jungle Fury Wolf. King Sphinx or Terror Toad. Either from the Ally Pack or the Big Box expansion. Interesting. I will say that I've asked the question before, and everybody always guesses Hyperforce Green. Every time. Like, that probably has the most guesses of anything out of the times that I've asked the question what people think I've got. I have a friend who's in the armed forces. He's overseas right now. He's a big Ranger fan, and that was the first thing he said, too. I was like, what do you think I got? And he was like, Hyperforce Green? I know, buddy. Can't tell you. There was a lot of other guesses, too. I'm like, man, I wish I could just say. Wish I could just tell you. Alright, so I like the color now. It's definitely brightened up. And I think I want to brighten it up a little bit. A little bit more. So I'm going to get the Screaming Skull. I don't like making people wait. I've had these models since January, and I'm going to have them until April, May, the end of May, beginning of June. So, like, not having anybody to talk to about it is kind of torture for me, too. I mean, it's fun knowing, don't get me wrong. But not being able to talk about it with people that are also enthusiasts is a little bit horrible as well. So I didn't wash my brush, and that was intentional. Matter of fact, I wasn't gonna use the Tyrant Skull. Tyrant Skull and Screaming Skull are pretty much the same color, but one is a dry color, and one is a... And the reason that I'm grabbing this one instead of using the other is so that I can take it straight from the pot. And so, like I was saying, I intentionally didn't wash my brush because I'm wanting to mix the two things together to dilute the yellow that's already on my brush. This is so subtle you guys probably can't even see it, but I also don't want to make it chalky, so I don't want to press too hard because it's already getting a little chalky and I don't like that. So I think I'm actually going to stop before I ruin what I've gotten so far. I'm pretty comfortable with that color. It'll lighten up as we go, and it won't seem so orangey once we get some other colors on there. And if it does, then I'm trying to think of what other colors I have. Let me get some more paper towels. I'm going to experiment a little bit. Space Silver, Hyperforce Green, Jungle Fury Wolf, and 2 others. There we go. There's the color I want. I'll show you which color I use in just a second. I don't even think there's anybody from Renegade in here that could help me know if I can confirm anything. It's just me. They trust me. Can't tell you guys stuff. Cool. All right. I guess I'm ready to wash this brush now. We went through a lot of paper towels. So the color I used for that was Dorn Yellow. It's actually an edge color, but it's nice and light. It's a nice light yellow. Normally you wouldn't use that for a dry brushing, but I wasn't really getting the result that I wanted from the Tyrant Skull. It was a little too tan and not enough yellow for what I was trying to do. I was trying to brighten up the yellow, and I wasn't getting that effect that I wanted, so... Oh, he did, huh? So the thing that stinks about these brushes, like I was mentioning, is you do have to, like, and then maybe it's a good thing, but you do have to, like, wash them with a with soap and water or something else. Otherwise, you just not good. All right, we're gonna move on to the white, since that's the next most time-consuming part. For this, we're going to use Althuan Gray. And I know that on the screen, it looks very mute. I wish that you guys could, I don't know why my camera doesn't give you true color, but it is yellow. I know on the screen, it probably, like, I'm looking on my screen and it doesn't look yellow. I mean, compared to, like, the symbol, the Power Ranger symbol down there, this looks like a much more mute and flat color. Hopefully when I get the other colors up. So Althuan Gray is the best color to use when you are painting white, especially as a base. If you want to highlight it later, you can. But I usually don't. White is the second most difficult color to paint, in my opinion, next to yellow. So using Althuan Gray, in my experience as a painter, really, really, really goes a long way to help you with your colors. White tends to be very chalky, and Althuan Gray goes on smooth as butter. And the good news is that because we were using yellow, this white will go on no problem. And because of our dark brownish, warm recesses, hopefully that will give us that outlining effect that we want, so that we don't necessarily need to worry about those gold outlines that I was talking about at the beginning of the video. Or the beginning of the stream, I should say. It's not like when we painted the blue. You know, painting white over blue is very challenging, whereas this is this yellow isn't bad. While I'm painting, I don't think I mentioned this earlier. If you have any painting questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat, and I will be happy to answer them. I don't have all of the Power Ranger knowledge in the world. I rely on some of you guys in the chat for Power Ranger related questions. And there's a lot of things Renegade and game related I can't answer because I'm not allowed. But painting questions I can. What's the worst in my opinion? Yellow, gold, or white? Yellow. I don't like painting gold only because I've painted so much gold. I went through a brief stint where I played Age of Sigmar, and I played Stormcast Eternals, which are the big knight guys in gold armor. And so I was painting gold army, like a golden army, for a long time. And I also played 40k, Warhammer 40k, and in Warhammer 40k I played Ultramarines. So gold trim on the shoulder pads and gold eagle on the chest. Lots and lots of gold. That's why I haven't painted Goldar yet. Either version of Goldar, because I just don't want to paint gold. I will paint white all day. And again, if you use light colors as your undercoat, like yellow, and you use Althuan Gray, thin down, as your white, white is not that bad of a color to paint. Yellow is just always tricky. There are some things you can do to help, like I mentioned, using a brown undercoat or using contrast paint, which we did here. But yellow is just a tricky color. And I'll tell you the most fun colors to paint, in my opinion, are I love painting purple. I love painting green. I love painting blue and red. I don't really like painting natural colors, so brown, tan, stuff like that. Lead Belcher and then Sepia, really? I will need to go and check that out, because that's not a combination I would have thought of. I mean, I could be super lazy and I could just go to the store and buy Retributor Armor Spray and just, you know, spray Goldar as a base and then drop a wash on them and go from there. I mean, I have Lead Belcher Spray because I have a couple of big mech models that I eventually want to spray and paint silver, but I just haven't done that yet. I knew I shouldn't have painted the gun silver already. It's completely yellow from my dry brushing. Mainly because I started painting them yellow and couldn't take it anymore. Oh, your Tau army. Yeah. How I found out about using the contrast trick is I found somebody on YouTube who had painted an entire 2,000 point Imperial Fist list, which is yellow Space Marines, in like a few hours, and he did the whole thing with contrast paints and touch-ups. And I was like, man, if he can do that for Space Marines, I could do that for just about anything. And here we are, trying it out on Power Rangers. I know you're painting the Rangers, not released yet, but when you get the Squat and Bamboo and Villain box, can you post painting them? Absolutely. Absolutely. I am super excited about Squat and Bamboo. They're just some of my favorite characters. I don't have like a huge history of Power Ranger knowledge across like all the shows. So the shows and the stuff that I do know and I do enjoy, I'm really passionate about them because I just don't have as much knowledge as some other folks. So I'm very excited about Squat and Bamboo. So like when Rise of the Machine Empire came out, or Machine Empire and Rise of the Psycho Rangers, I was excited for those characters to be in the game to play with because I want more characters to play the game with. But I don't have a connection to those characters, so they're not... I wasn't like, oh man, I can't wait to paint, so-and-so. And that's why I'm excited about the re-release of the Mighty Morphin stuff. Like the new Yellow Ranger model and the new Alpha and stuff, because I have connections to those characters. So I've already painted them, my versions of them, from the original release, so I'm happy and excited to be painting them for everyone else. All right, let's see. Lots more white to go. We're getting there. Want to become famous? No, I don't want to become famous. Am I the only person that sees that? I'm really excited to paint Alpha as well, especially on stream. Alpha was one of my favorite models to paint from the original release. He was just a ton of fun to paint. So I'm really excited to have a new Alpha model to paint on stream. I mean, I guess I could have always just bought another Alpha model. I would like to do that eventually with the Megazord model. So I really enjoy. It was challenging, but I really enjoyed painting the Megazord model, and I really like to do it on stream because I wasn't a streamer yet when I painted those. So I don't have that on film or anything like that. And that was actually, fun fact, that was actually the first model I painted. So I got everything and I opened everything up and I was like, well, might as well get the hardest model out of the way. And that's what I did. So I painted the Megazord first. And then I painted the White Ranger and the Green Ranger, because they're my favorites. And I don't even remember what else after that in the order. So right now I'm just taking my time with these diamonds. I want to make sure that I don't. One of the big downsides to painting with contrast is that if I mess up, so right now if I were to, take the brush and just whoosh white paint right across the front of the front of the model, it would be hard for me to get paints, regular paints, to cover up the mistakes that I made. So you have to be careful when doing your touch-ups and the rest of the model, because again, if you screw up, you're kind of it makes fixing mistakes much more difficult. So that's why I'm taking my time to draw or to paint my diamonds. I'm getting the already painted Megazord, but if I don't like the color, is there a way to make it look, I'm assuming you meant beat up, like battle weathered and damaged and stuff? For sure. That's actually a really cool idea for a stream, is to take a pre-painted Megazord model and touch it up, make it look weathered, and just take, you know, that and just add a few things to it to make it look better than just the stock paint job. Man, you guys are giving me really good ideas. Unfortunately, I only get to paint once a month now. If I was still painting every week, these would be ridiculously cool ideas because we could do, you know, whatever we want. We'd have the time. But I do like that idea, taking the pre-painted guy and doing some stuff to it. Making it look better. Yeah, there's definitely things you can do. I've done that with HeroClix, because I don't, if anybody's familiar with the game HeroClix, the models that you get a lot of times are very plain and generic, but there's definitely touch-ups and things that you can do, especially like with the faces and stuff like that, to give them more character and bring them to life. And I've done that a lot. I actually have an amiibo. Is this an amiibo? No, this is a Disney Infinity character here next to me. This is Iron Man from Disney Infinity game. And it's been sitting on my desk for a couple months. But my intention is to take that model, which comes pre-painted, and make it my own. And, you know, make it look better than it comes out of the box. Start my own channel. I have my own channel. Nice plug. For those of you that are just joining the channel, if you want to see more of my content, go over to Circle of Nerds YouTube page, youtube.com/Circle of Nerds, and subscribe. That's where you can find all my content. All my non-Power Ranger painting Renegade content. All of that you can find on Renegade's Facebook page. I'm sorry, YouTube page. It's just the reason that I actually don't, you know, like I paint for Renegade on Monday, you know, the last Monday of the month. The reason that I don't just do it on my own channel is just because of time. You know, with Renegade, with these streams, you know, I know that people are going to be here. You know, Renegade is providing the models and paying to have me here. Whereas if I do it on my own, you know, I got to come out of pocket and my own time and stuff like that. And then if nobody shows up or nobody watches, then I'm basically just hanging out with myself. And that's no fun. What color do you use for skin color like Ranger Slayer? That's a great question. I use, stand by, let me get my brush clean here, and I will. So, I recently, within the last few months, switched the color that I use for skin tone. I used to use all GW products. So if you only have access to Games Workshop, then you can use Calidor sorry, Cadian Flesh Tone. That will give you a nice base, and then you can use Kislov Flesh as a highlight for the skin color. That's for Caucasian skin. However, I recently switched, and I now use Scale 75. And I use Scale 75's Basic Flesh. That's this one here. Throw this on, give it a Recklin Flesh Shade wash, and then highlight back up with that same color, and skin tones look fantastic. It's a really, really great skin color if you have access to Scale 75. Atomic says, actually, with faces and eyes especially, do you have any tips about painting them, particularly on smaller models? Yeah, so recently I've started doing the black, white, black trick. So you fill the... It's hard to show you. I don't have any models near me with eyes. They all have helmets on. You fill the eye with black, with just plain black, and you let it dry, and then you go over top of the black with white, but you do it so that the white is only about 90 to 95% filled over the black, so you can still see like a black outline. And then you can just use your dot for the actual eyeball. And just saying it out loud, it doesn't sound very good, but I promise it works. I need to try and make a tutorial, because it's actually... I've been working on eyes for a really long time. Basically since I started painting. I don't have any models next to me with eyeballs. Literally, they all have helmets. I have a dog, but that's not going to work. Okay. So our white is... Oh, no. We skipped the neck seal. I knew I was going to do that, too. I told myself not to skip the neck seal. I'll show you one more trick. I'll tell you one more trick in a second about eyes. Alright, there's the neck seal on there. Looking pretty good so far. Alright, so the last trick that I want to mention about eyeballs is get yourself a pair of these guys. I don't know if you can see up in the right-hand corner. Actually, let me just switch my camera so you can get yourself a pair of these. So these go... I'll show you. I don't know what they're called. Modeling glasses or... like this. So these, they look ridiculous, I know. But these come with... I got this on Amazon, and I only use it for eyes or really fine details. Power Rangers... maybe some stuff with eyes, but for the most part it's heroic scale, so the details are a lot bigger and it's easier to paint. But they come with these different lenses that you can put on the front here, and it basically magnifies whatever you have in front of you. So you can get really, really close to some details, and it even has like a light you can see right there on top that lets you get into some crevices and stuff like that, into some details. So if you really are serious about improving your skill with eyes, I didn't use these until really recently. I think I've only had these like 6 months or so. And before that, I was just literally eyeballing it. Oh, gosh, you're so funny, Louie. I was eyeballing the eyeballs. So that's pretty cool. You don't want to see my face anymore, though. Let's go back down to the table. Yeah, you can find those on Amazon. They're cheap. Good way to do eyeballs. All right, so we're gonna switch over to. Let's go with black, our favorite, German gray. You heard it here first. All models Louie have helmets on. So I said that there were no models close to me that had eyes. The models that aren't painted yet are about 10 feet to my left. So I couldn't reach them even if I wanted to. And I keep them far away so that I'm not staring at them and I let something slip, nor am I tempted to grab them and show them to you. I took a picture today of something in my room because I have like a little man cave or whatever in my man cave room, and the models were in the background, and I sent the picture to someone who is actually like a Power Ranger fan, so they could have potentially seen it, and I had to really quickly remove the picture from our chat. Because I was like, oh, crap. You know, like I didn't even... Because they were just hanging out in the background. No harm done. Crisis averted. So the visor has this really predominant outline. I guess that's white. In the pictures, it looks like it's white. So I'm going to have to go back over white in a little bit. So what are the... So presumably in Dino Thunder, the Zords are dinosaurs, yeah? What are the 3 dinosaurs of the main... team? T-Rex, Triceratops, and a pterodactyl. And are they all different from the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers? Like, do they look different? It seems kind of cheesy that they would make them the same as pre-existing Zords and then make them different. Why aren't they the same? Yeah, see, that's dumb. They should look the same. I'm, of course, playing devil's advocate here. They shouldn't be different. Right now, I'm just picking out some black bits on the, and I'm looking at my whatchamacallit model, my Blue Ranger, because I want them to look similar. So where do you guys rank Dino Thunder as your on your list of favorite Power Ranger shows? Is it a fan favorite? I know there's some that people regard as being not very good in the Power Ranger universe. I'm curious. I don't know like how Dino Thunder ranks. The Megazord would be short one leg and no arms. Interesting. Alright, let's do some more silver here. Fixing up my silver bits. Top 10, it has the Tommy factor. So in the chat, what do you think is the best non-Tommy Power Ranger show? I'm a brand new fan. I've never seen Power Rangers before that doesn't have Tommy in it. Which show should I go watch? And my follow-up question is, will I even understand it? Or does it have connections to other shows that I wouldn't get? That's the one thing that's always gotten Voltron. That's the one thing that's always kept me from getting really deep into Power Rangers is it's a little overwhelming. There's so much, and I just never know where to start. Especially as an older, you know, as an older fan. Mighty Morphin has nostalgia, but if you go back and watch it now, most of it is cringeworthy. The acting is bad. The action is bad. Like I said, it does have that nostalgia factor, though, which is why, I can still watch it today. But I have also heard that there is some Power Ranger stuff that's good. The acting is decent, the action is good, the story is good. Well, lots of different opinions. Not the same opinion. I see two people say Time Force, SPD, Lightspeed Rescue, Dino Charge, RPM. Beast Morphers, and Dino Fury. Interesting. Lots and lots of different opinions. So there isn't a consensus, I guess, of what I should go watch first. I also have like so many TV shows I'm trying to watch right now. That's another one of my big problems. Just time. Oh man, I got white on the visor. Gonna have to redo that. At least it wasn't on the yellow. Definitely gonna need red for those eyes, like somebody said. The only non-Tommy series I liked was Space, SPD, Jungle Fury, and RPM. Don't watch Overdrive. So, from people for the folks that are in the chat, who knows about the Legend of the White Dragon project, and what are your guys' thoughts on it? It's obviously not like super Mighty Morphin related, or super Power Ranger related, but it's kind of in the same. I'm having to. Yeah, I should have backed it. I feel like an idiot for not backing it. I might... I'll have to look into seeing if it's something I can back. Like, late back. Because I'm a huge JDF fan, so, like, I feel like I need to support him. By the way, there are no divots or... there's no... I'm using Evil Sun Scarlet. Sorry, should have said that. There's no spot for the eyes, so I'm literally having to hand draw them on the dagger things. I thought they had already started filming and then COVID happened. Had they not even started yet when COVID happened? He talks about it all the time. I don't think that he's, like, out to get people's money or anything. I don't think he was, like... I mean, he's human, obviously. He wants money, but... Yeah, he's been pushing it hard. I think he's really excited about it. I mean, I think that's one of the things that I like about him is that he's a fan of this stuff too. Nobody does it for that long without... I don't know what the order is. I'll have to look into that. Gotta fix my visor now. Alright, last main color is my favorite gold. This is going to be for the belt, or the belt, the holster, the belt, the holster. These, the rings around the boots. The cuff link things, the wrist guards or whatever they're called. And the chest symbol. That's too bad that the order never happened if it was supported by a bunch of Power Ranger actors. This is Retributor armor. In case you didn't, you weren't here at the beginning when I went over the colors. The one thing I'll never understand about Power Rangers is, and I do understand that, like, it's all different people, right? So, like, the people that do the comics aren't the same people that do the shows, which aren't the same people that do the movies. But in case you guys don't know, the comics are doing it right. Like, the comics are really, really, really good right now, and have been for the past several years. Why they don't implement those stories into live action is beyond me. Like, I'll never understand that. I would say if it's a matter of rights, go get the rights, because, like, they're missing out big time. Well, some of the live action, the Sentai footage, sure, but they also reshoot a lot of that. You know, they got to get the American actors and stuff in there somehow. Make it into a movie then. Like, the plot of the last live action movie was garbage. I mean, in my opinion, that movie was terrible. You know, why they didn't just, implement one of the storylines from the comics for that live action movie. Like, ugh, it's terrible. Oh, me too. I would love to see Ivan. I love the Ivan Ooze movie. It was great. I'm totally fine with like a creator taking a concept that exists and making it their own to an extent, you know? But like Power Rangers has a feeling that that works, you know? And the last movie just did way too much to change that. Like they modernized it too much. It didn't feel like a Power Ranger movie. Nothing about it felt Power Ranger. But I think there's a new one in the works, so we'll see. Again. Like all good things, they'll make more. Or we'll just have to wait for the live action Voltron movie. Yeah, the comics are really good. Yeah, I would love to see a Shattered Grid movie. I'm jacking this symbol up. Looks terrible. Terrible. We're almost done, guys. We're getting there. I'm going to go back and fix that symbol in a minute. I'll let that paint dry. The one on the Blue Ranger looks so clean. And this one just kind of like blends in with the uniform a little too much. But I guess that's part of it. I mean, I could make it coppery, like a little more coppery than gold, but then it won't match the Blue Ranger, and I don't want to do that. That's a lot of black paint. Holy moly. Way too much. Oh, that's a good idea, actually. Putting an outline around it so it doesn't blend in. Let me see if I can do that. I just don't know if I can make the outline thin enough. I'll see what I can do. But that's a solid idea. So it doesn't blend in as bad. Because I was really worried about the white diamonds blending in, but because of the way that we did the contrast, the contrast paint did all the work for us. Otherwise, we'd have a whole nother step that we wouldn't even have time for. We'd have to do a gold outline around the diamonds. But thanks to the contrast paint, we don't have to do that. This is just regular black, by the way. Vallejo black. It's really thick. I did not. I put way too much on my palette. I got cocky. And now it's just a thick mess. Oh well. Who is Kyle Higgins? I'm sure it's somebody I should know. Oh, I knew that. I did know that. I'm not really good with comic book names. I'm starting to think that I did the base of my Blue Ranger in German gray and not in black, which is uncharacteristic of me to not use black. Alright, I'm going to try this thin line of German gray around the... In person, that looks dope. On camera, it's really not that great. But in person, it looks really good. And when I say it looks really good, what I'm saying it to is the outline. I'm trying to do it very subtly. And not even all the way around, just in parts so that you know that... I'm going to have to redo that one up there. It was a good idea, that little outline there, buddy. It's fire. Is there a way to make it more yellow? Absolutely. I could sit here all day and play around with colors and highlights and stuff like that. Due to time constraints, this is probably as yellow as it's gonna get. But if I had another hour, yeah, I could make it. I could make it look really yellow. I mean, it's yellow now. It's very... I'll post pictures on the Facebook group, like I always do. And you'll see, hopefully, on camera, on the, taking an actual picture versus, the camcorder or whatever. You can see it's much more yellow in person than it's looking on my stream camera for whatever reason. In person, it's much more yellow. This color right here is Flash Gets Yellow, which is like the sun. And you can see when holding them next to each other, even on the stream, they're pretty close to the same color. And that's just not coming through for some reason on the camera. I think it's, you have to think too, for me to be able to see, I'm using, like if I were to turn this to a yellow, here. So these are white lights that I'm using to paint. How's that? So now I'm using regular lights, and you can see the color difference. But I have whitening lights so that I can see, which helps me see the details, but it also washes out the color a little bit on the screen. So hopefully that came through when I changed the color there. You could see it a little better. And again, right, it's all about timing. So there's only so much that I can do in a 2-hour time span streaming with you guys. If I had another week, you know, if we were coming back next week, I could do highlights and stuff like that, color-wise. I just don't have the time to do it, unfortunately. So we do the best we can in 2 hours. Try to give you guys as much information as I can to get a whole model painted in 2 hours. On a normal, I shouldn't say on a normal, on a model that I'm painting for myself, like for display, or for a model I'm painting commission, like for someone else, it would take me 2 to 3 times longer than the model. And that's not talking, like that's not stopping to talk like I do with you guys. It's a solid 4 to 6 hours of work per model. When I do, you know, all in. So these are beginner ideas, beginner shortcuts to get you guys the best looking model in 2 hours that I can on the stream. And hopefully it helps beginners. Hopefully you more advanced painters learn something to level up your gaming and your painting. I'm having to go around this thing like 10 times. Round and around I go to make that yellow. So while I'm painting the rim, I'll go ahead and start saying my outros, and then I'll show you the finished product, since we are out of time. If you don't know who I am, if you are new to my streams, I am Daddy Louie, member of the Circle of Nerds. You can find all of my content over on YouTube, youtube.com/Circle of Nerds. Give us a subscribe. That is the #1 way that you can show your support to me and what I'm doing. You can catch me here on Renegade's Twitch channel, painting, the last Monday of every month. So next month, we are going to be painting something that I can't tell you. The model that's so close to me, yet so far away. But that will be the last Monday of April, which is, drum roll, please. Oh no, I just dropped my brush in my lap and on my floor. April 26th. Damn it. I got paint on my leg. on my shirt. It's a good thing it's acrylic paint. Okay. Whew. I got my brush. Oh, good. Okay. One more time around. That wasn't fair. All right, April 26th, we'll be painting something new. Never before seen model. Right here. So I hope you guys will join me. And it will not be a Dino Thunder model, I promise. All right. Here she be. It's pretty cool. Yeah. So that's everything from me. I will see you guys next month. Be safe. Be careful. Take care of yourself. Take care of your others. And remember, play your game.